Previously on Guardians of Fehal.
The adventurers became full-time members of the Feyan Merchant Guild.
For rescuing my boy, you have my eternal gratitude. I would like to give you a reward for your services. I'd like to give you an opportunity to work here with me.
They completed their first official mission and fought some mephits.
You see the forms shift, and there's like these four like mud creatures that just pop out from what you thought was a pile of mud.
So Hans and Franz is going to attack the one that tried to swipe and missed.
Okay.
And with his long sword, that's a natural 20.
Oh my
Ooh.
nice. It's still up, but it looks very weak. And then it just bursts into an explosion of water.
And spent some time getting to know each other over a nice hot bath.
Oh, hi, you must be new.
Oh, yes. I am. What's your name?
Lavinia.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Nora.
Were you with the group that saved Guildmaster's son?
Yeah, that was us.
You guys make quite the impression. Everyone's been talking about you for days.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. People won't shut up about it.
So, Rowan, where did you come from?
From what I was told, Papa Carthley from a tree in the forest.
Did I hear you right? He's a lumberjack.
Correct. And also a very skilled carver. That is where I lived, as you can see by the carvings on my body.
What do those mean?
They are just, symbols from our village.
So why is your village there?
I'm not supposed to say exactly where it is.
Why?
I'm not supposed to say exactly where it is.
Oh. I don't think he heard you, brother.
Okay.
Why can't you tell us?
I'm not supposed to say exactly where it is.
Oh god, I think he's broken. Nora!
Now, Megan's character was doing some other things. Una had a pretty interesting evening, but found herself asleep much earlier than you guys and woke up early in the morning, had her breakfast, and ended up hearing that what happened last night in the cellar, that there was some sort of break-in attempt, the wall was collapsed, and that there were thieves, and just all sorts of crazy things. Rumors going around in the guild hall in the morning. She eventually got taken aside by Ben, the steward of the guild hall, had a small conversation with him, and then they made their way down to the cellar around late morning. The rest of you guys woke up. What do?
Hit snooze.
Wait, Snooze is here?
Yep. He woke us
I
up.
hate that guy.
Pow!
Nora's heading down for breakfast.
Okay.
Lunch.
Lunch. At the brunch.
Hans and Franz will go down to
Second
some
breakfast.
calisthenics and do his morning quote-unquote routine.
Okay.
Yep.
And then get some lunch, because it's almost lunch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How did it go, Andrew?
Steak and eggs and steak.
There we go.
That's what it takes for breakfast.
So we do our steak and eggs, and then once that is done, we go and get breakfast.
Okay.
Lunch.
All right. I'm assuming, Rowan, you go down with Nora to not eat since you don't have to eat.
Rowan will do whatever Nora does.
You sheep.
I have a question.
Yes.
As far as when we've mentioned steak and eggs, like, is beef a common, commodity? Like, using cows for slaughter and food, or what would be like the common, meat source?
For you guys, or
just in Feyan here.
In Feyan, it's actually sheep.
Sheep, okay. Because I know
Sheep
from
and then chicken.
Lamb.
as far as the Bendai are concerned,
Yeah.
we hunted.
Right. So
Like,
you
we
guys didn't
really
eat a lot of
keep
cows.
livestock
No.
except.
Well, we probably did have some goats
Well,
and stuff like
we
that.
had for like
Sheep.
milk and cheese.
But
And
you
just
didn't eat
sheep
But we
steaks.
didn't.
for wool.
Yeah.
Well, but we
Unfortunately.
didn't necessarily keep them for slaughter, right? We went out and hunted.
Yeah.
Um,
That is correct.
So I was just wondering,
Uh-huh.
so it's sheep here as well,
Yeah.
but they
And there's
actually.
pigs. There's a lot of pig meat because
Oh,
pigs are
okay.
cheap and easy to raise. And,
Lamb and pork.
yeah, lamb and
Okay.
pork and chicken. That's pretty dominant. But like, the guild hall is pretty generous with the food for the most part, but the meal is still largely like other things, like vegetables. It's like the meat is not the
Potatoes.
big portion of the meal because that's expensive.
Sure.
So, so you guys go down for lunch, basically. You guys essentially are eating a little bit, and then you have one of the servants come up and say, I know you are eating, but as soon as you're finished, can you go down to the cellar? The guildmaster and some of the law officials want to talk to you about what happened last night.
Excuse me, what is your name?
My name is Maria.
Hello, Maria. It is good to meet you. My name is Hans and Franz. As soon as
hello.
me and my brother are done eating, we will come down.
Oh, perfect. I'll go tell them. And she kind of just like scurries off to go tell them.
Now, I think over breakfast, Hans and Franz would probably turn to the group, or more specifically his brother, and
Okay, so there was a tunnel, right?
Yes.
And then me and Nora found another tunnel, like a cross section. It had like a little river, a little underground river with bricks and stuff. I think what we need to do is find a tracker, because if those little thieves are using this place, we need to find someone who can follow them. We need a tracker, right?
That is not a terrible idea.
Who invited you into this conversation?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, brother. It's what needs to happen.
I've been here the whole time.
I thought you were a chair, I'm sorry.
now did Maria say that Ben and Bobby Billy are down in the basement?
She said the guildmaster and some law officials.
Okay. Is Ben around in the hall at all?
You don't see him.
Don't see him?
He's
Okay.
downstairs.
But he's not the guildmaster.
Yeah, I know.
Robert
that.
Williams is the guildmaster.
Yeah.
According to you
Bobby
guys, you don't know where the you know the guildmaster and some law officials are downstairs. You have no
Okay.
idea where Ben is.
Okay.
As players, you heard me say Ben went down
Yeah.
there with Una, so
Okay. So I guess that was just my little aside
okay.
conversation over breakfast. We need a tracker.
Okay. Anything from you two, or are you just finishing?
Nora's just eating.
Yeah.
And pouring through that book that she borrowed from Hans and Franz.
Oh, it's like read,
Yes.
scoop some breakfast, flip a
Mhm.
page,
Exactly.
read, scoop some breakfast,
Yep.
brush off breakfast from page.
Exactly.
Give me a dexterity check.
Oh boy, okay.
I wonder
Alright,
how many
You guys, don't fail me.
reading during eating
Damn. 9.
rolls there are bad.
You just barely catch, like, in the very edge of the book, a little bit of your breakfast. Like, a little piece of, like, meat falls on it, and you're, like, able to kind of wipe it away quickly before it actually, like, stains the book.
Well, it's not gravy. I don't...
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
You think you could wipe away food in an instant before it stains on paper?
It wasn't, like, it clipped the edge of the book.
What kind of dry food are we dealing with in this place?
Lettuce.
Oh God!
Kill me
This
now.
is very wet.
I'll make it even worse. Spinach.
Cooked spinach.
All right, brother, we must burn this
Hail.
place to the ground.
Yeah. I will say a prayer to Angine, and she will give me the gift of fire. We will burn the place to the ground. Searing blade! Attack the building.
I attacked the gazebo.
There's no gazebo here
Oh,
that you've seen.
Could,
too low level of an area, I guess.
Mhm.
Could Rowan have found like a block of wood and just start?
You probably poop bricks, man.
I mean,
Not
I
bricks.
shit
He's trying
bricks.
to make his-
Bricks of wood.
Is he trying to make his own child?
He's seeding.
Instead of nesting.
No, I
Um,
want to start carving a little
Like a thing to hold
If
the
I-
Holder
yeah,
for the
Okay,
sigil.
sure,
Heart-shaped
sure.
box?
Give me 1 second and let me look at
Hard
the
If he only had a heart.
I want to.
only if you knew.
Okay, let me look really, really quickly. I want to see what possible.
What if I'm actually piloted by a squirrel?
I mean, that would be pretty
Oh!
a dire squirrel.
A dire squirrel inside a
I don't think they make any other kind
7
of squirrel.
foot.
That's
What
true.
has Papa been hiding?
Where are you?
No
Are you guys
idea.
going around and looking for a piece of wood? Like, what's your?
yeah,
Or
like
do you ask somebody?
Well,
he would have asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you
Deal
ask
wood.
over,
hey man, got wood.
yeah, how do you? Okay, so the servants kind of are bringing out food and cleaning up, and you kind of attract one of their attention. It's a young man, and he's just like, yes, sir.
Hello. I was wondering if there's any place that I could find a piece of wood.
Oh, like how big of a piece?
About 6 inches.
Depends on how much wood you have.
6 inches long.
Needs
a
3-inch
round.
girth.
2 inches wide. Approximately,
Curves to the
and
right.
he sort of holds out his hands. It would be a little bigger than the sigil. The sigil's
You probably
about...
wouldn't know measurements.
No.
that well.
No.
Wait a minute, he knows how to use carving tools. He knows
Yeah, but he wouldn't know
measurements.
measurements. That's
Oh,
math. That's
yeah.
totally
Oh,
irrelevant.
But he would probably do it in like association to like,
Right.
It
right.
wouldn't be
You
like
probably-
a 2
rabbit.
inches. It would be more like
I need a piece of wood the size of a rabbit or something.
yeah,
or a
yeah.
bird.
You would use comparisons.
No, how you would
Compared-
actually do it is you either
Fingers.
the chisel, the
Mhm.
width of the chisel would be your measuring tool.
Okay.
Or fingers.
Or it would be fingers.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Or you'd use it.
Well, I do have woodcarver's tools.
Right.
So I would probably have a
twiglets?
chisel. My twiglets. It's about 3 twiglets wide. No. How big would the sigil we got be?
It's about the size of like a coin, like
Well,
not
is it like a
no,
silver dollar, a
a
50-cent
a
piece?
silver dollar.
So maybe like 2 inches.
Yes.
2 inches.
you need
So
a bigger-
probably, I don't know,
Like 4.
That is not a
two
silver
or
dollar.
3.
You're making
Like
it smaller, so
that
you
big?
probably would need like 4 inches or something.
Got you.
Yeah. So
2 inches.
approximately 4.
That's it. You two are getting separated.
Hey, it's fine.
Approximately 4 chisels wide.
4. Just why don't you come back to the kitchen with me and you can look through the wood pile there.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
And
he
he
sort
just-
of like
This is
looks
gonna get-
back at Nora to double check that she's okay.
She just looks up, nods,
Mhm.
kind of does the
You
little
go
wave.
get him, bro.
She does the little wave and just keeps going through her book.
Okay.
so how many inches? No. He takes you back into the kitchen, and it's like mostly at this time of day. They're in the middle of cleaning because they've kind of already got all the food prepared, and he kind of motions you over to the corner by where like the fire is, and there is a pile of wood, and you can find a piece of wood that's about 4 or 5 inches.
I'll take more than I need.
Yeah, like probably 5 inches. You can whittle it down to 2 inches.
Okay.
So you just get a little block of wood of that, and then you go back and sit down, and you can start carving.
I say
he does.
thank you.
He
as
does
I leave.
say, just make sure you pick up the shavings when you're done.
Oh yes, of course.
I eat them.
It is the only thing that I eat.
Besides soul.
All right, so you guys finish eating. You pick up your wood shavings, and
What do you do with them?
Like, are you carving at the breakfast table?
Yeah.
Like just right there on the table.
Yeah. Why not?
No, Rowan, I don't need that much fiber in my breakfast.
He's like arm around his food, protecting it from
Every
the
once in a
flying
while, Nora just
shavings.
on the book just blows the little shavings off of it and keeps reading.
Your Hans and Franz is a girl.
Wood.
Please.
Fiber.
Now Hans and Franz likes his wood.
Oh no.
Now right to why.
Look, you said it last time.
I know.
You said maybe he hasn't met the right hot dog.
Yes.
Last session.
It
You
was
can't
said.
hold last session again.
Oh, these are one-shot adventures,
Let them-
just using the same
They aren't?
characters.
I thought
Let
they
the
were.
record show. Okay, so you guys finish breakfast, and
Look, man,
you...
it's okay.
I accept you as my brother. No matter what.
So you finish breakfast, and you guys make your way down the stairs to the cellar. It's actually outside the kitchen. You guys have to go through some back doors. You go back towards where you walked, where you had your baths last night in the guild hall. And if anyone actually wants to see this, I did sketch it up so I could throw a map of this up. But you go down the stairs and you see the cellar has kind of got quite a few people in it. It looks like there's the guild master, Ben is down there, Una is down there. There's a really striking, tall elf with very dark skin down there, very nicely muscled, kind of very serious-looking face. He has a mustache and black hair, and he's like nodding, listening to them talk. And then you recognize Brian Hughes, Hans and Franz, who you ran into in the very first session, who yelled at you guys for running through the town, and he has a notebook out and he's taking notes and like talking to the guild master. As you guys approach, you hear like the conversation. The guild master is really agitated. Ben is trying to calm him down a little bit, and basically he's saying things like, "This is your security. You're supposed to be preventing things like this from happening." And Officer Brian Hughes is saying, "I understand, Guildmaster, but we don't have access to explore we've explored the sewers before and haven't found anything. This is an older part of the city that I'm guessing was collapsed. You have to understand we're going to make a follow-up investigation." And you kind of just get the sense that the Guildmaster is angry and he's trying to take it out on someone. The really tall elf has a very deep voice, and he answers back, "Well, Guildmaster, once we get this filled up, I will speak to Lavinia about adding some further enchantments to this to add to the security." And basically, Una just is kind of down there. What are you doing, Una?
Probably just standing next to Ben, seeing, I guess, listening more than anything, and just kind of being there as he needs. Kind of being like a fly on the wall almost, but right behind Ben. Just to be like, gather as much information about what's going on, because it might be related to something.
Hans and Franz would, hearing the distress and whatnot of Bobby Billy, would, walk up, clap him on the shoulder, and kind of, pull him to the side.
It's okay, Guildmaster.
Oh.
We're here. Officer Hughes, thank you for coming. What, do you have any questions for us?
And he kind of takes a moment, and then he recognizes you too. He's like, "Oh, so you're the ones who were down here last night. Well, very fortunate. Yes, I'm doing an investigation. I want to hear about what happened and what did you see and what occurred."
We were down here protecting the wine. Anyway, and while my brother and I were doing our rounds, a piece of mud stood up and attacked us, and so we killed it. And then there was another one, and we killed that one. And there was another one, and we killed that one.
Rowan pipes up and says, actually, it was my sister Nora who spotted the first creature.
Nora's just over there, totally ignoring the conversation, and is just waving to Una like,
Well, yes, there was a puddle of mud, and we went over to investigate, and there were these four, mud, flappy creature bird-like things.
But anyway, we destroyed them.
And then there were two water ones.
And,
They were
and
so
then
scary.
we found the cracks in the wall.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Guildmaster, but I chiseled through that wall because I saw feet. There were feet on the other side of the wall when I looked through the crack, and it ran away. But I couldn't catch it, I'm sorry.
It's you did very well, and if there was a point of weakness, I'm happy it was discovered on your watch last night. And you can kind of see Brian making a face "Oh, funny, that wasn't your reaction a minute ago." But he's just taking his notes and trying to be professional.
Just use some reassurance.
Strong
hand.
And he basically asks you guys to show where did they pop up from. He gets more details about what they looked like, if there was any other movement in the room, somebody was trying to come in the door or traces of other magic, just going through a whole list of questions of the specifics of what happened. And after he kind of completes his notes, he says, now, I understand you said the footprints ran this way. I'd like you to walk down with me, and I understand that this young woman here is a skilled huntswoman of sorts and will be helping track. And then Ben says, yes, that's why I had her come down here. She's one of the best hunters that the guild has. So.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to come and talk to you about today. Awesome.
Well, I'm glad to help.
Yeah. So yeah, about, I don't know, 500 feet or so comes this like cross river.
Una would start going and looking for footprints and probably seeing Hans and Franz and Nora's. Or
it was Hans and
Benny.
Franz, Josh's character, and Nora's. Give me a survival check.
I mean, unfortunately, like Hans and Franz went all
I know.
over
Yeah.
that cavern.
I know,
lighting
that's
up
what
the
she's
place.
probably
I know
gonna see.
it's a high DC.
But there is something to find.
12.
Oh,
It's
Not
really
having it.
hard with the footprints muddled down here, but you get a general sense. I mean, it only really goes one way, and then you come to this intersection, and it's not a big section of water flowing through. It's more of like just a small little stream that is flowing through of this old, much wider looking sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
aqueduct?
Like you know how in aqueducts, like they have like the edges and then they have like the decline, so the water just goes through there and it doesn't like raise
Yeah,
above.
that's
Okay,
a ditch.
a ditch
I mean-
sort of. That isn't. You kind of get the sense that normally it would be full of more water, but there's just not really much water flowing through it.
Which
So
way is it flowing?
it is flowing.
Is it flowing away from the river or towards the river?
It's flowing towards the river.
So
Which makes
south?
Southwest is the way it's flowing.
And since we're down there, I mean, looking around, like looking down, does it look like it goes both directions as far as we can see?
Because it's an unlit tunnel, right?
It's an unlit tunnel.
Okay.
They have torches with you right now.
Sure. Well, Hans and Franz would like pick up a stone and cast light on it.
Okay.
Just toss it.
Yeah, Nuna has her.
Well, and I mean, like he'd
Yeah.
give one to his brother
Oh.
and then light another one, and
You guys kind of
like kick the can down
Yeah.
the tunnel.
you keep walking for a bit, and then you end up coming to what looks like a dead end. But there's still kind of some. It looks like a grate is here, and then the water just kind of goes down the grate a little bit, and it still looks like it's continuing towards the river. But it is a dead end essentially.
Oh, so we went south, not north.
Can Una
Yes.
look at the wall and see if there might be like a hidden something there, or is a grate big? Like, does the grate look like it's been moved? Is the grate big enough for a person to
Give
go
me
through?
a perception check
Would that be perception or
Don't die.
or investigation.
Oh, which one?
Well, are you trying to find a secret thing or trying to see if
Yeah,
there's
what are
a
you trying to
secret?
do?
I'd say investigation.
You gotta find it.
16 for investigation or 19 for perception.
Go with perception.
Right. You're taking a little bit, and it's not. You're feeling around a little bit, and you're really examining the area because you're like, well, there should be somewhere this goes out, and it's not on the grate. You're kind of running your finger along the wall, and then there just feels like this hairline fracture in the wall that's there.
I would try to kind of push on both sides with like go like this and see if one side gives.
Push it real good.
It happens super quick. Make a acrobatics check.
Ooh.
4!
You push on it, and it just whoosh, like you
Turns
just fall
outward.
through it.
Okay.
Like the
Luna!
wall just gives out, or like she
No,
just goes through the wall.
She goes
an
through the
illusion.
wall.
Oh.
She just
Even
goes through
with
the
one
wall,
hand,
and
it's
you
so
kind of you catch yourself, but you like land on your hand. You kind of skin it a little bit
Hans
on the
and Franz
stone,
will run over and
trip over her a little bit.
I'll go over like
Actually,
hands
I'm on
first.
this
toward-
side. Do I see any footprints?
Making another survival check.
You almost fall on your face, and you're like, look at that.
Oh yeah, she probably does.
23.
Ooh.
You do see footprints.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
That's exciting.
Instead of going towards this actually opens up into what looks to be a much newer section of aqueduct. Like the stone doesn't look as worn down. There's actually a bunch of water flowing through here. You kind of landed on like the little ledge to walk on, and you see because there's some dust kicked up and some mud, faint. You see footprints going up north and then east, which you think goes back into town.
So Hans in front gets over and is like, makes his way through.
Okay. You kind of like step through and you are like
feet
oh, I'm
first.
sorry, Una. Like, and you kind of like step over her because she's still on the ground, like just staring, like looking.
Now.
Yeah, I do tracking. I do it.
It's fine. He wears trousers.
I don't see how that's relevant.
Hans in Franz wears a kilt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stepping
and I'm on
over
the
her.
ground looking up.
You're on the ground looking
That way.
that
true.
way.
That you're aware of.
He kind of opens up the panel and goes,
Whoa! I know you like being naked, but come on.
what did you find?
It looks like there's some footprints here.
Okay,
go.
I'll put my head back through and be like, through here.
And the rest of you and the guildmaster and the really tall elf and then Brian Hughes and Ben all walk through the illusion.
I'm going to turn to my brother and be like, brother, my sword.
Oh, right. And I'll use Engeed's blessing to give him the +1 bonus to his sword for the day.
Okay.
I would say, I think it should only be a small party that goes through here, just in case. It's kind of hard to be a little stealthy and quiet if there's a giant army of us coming up these, especially since we're trying to find someone.
Well, Brian's like, well, I'll come with you guys. And the elf says, Guildmaster and Ben, I recommend we go back into the cellar and wait for the Masons and then talk to Lavinia about further security measures in the future to prevent this. And let the law and these fine folk and Una do her job.
Who are you?
Oh, my name is Bass.
Bass?
As in
Bass,
the fish?
yes.
As in Lance?
Yes.
And he looks to be like the head guy in charge.
You know
of
him,
the-
Una. He is the head of the watch or the guild hall's private security.
Use bass as
Bass.
in fish?
BASS.
Okay, as in fish.
I
Head
know
of Guild
Bass.
Hall Security?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a warden.
He's the warden.
Warden of the Guild Hall. That's a good title.
Rowan suggests that he'll stay at the entrance to the secret tunnel and just wait.
And he looks at you and nods approvingly, like, smart thinking, like, to watch the entrance. Just like he doesn't say that,
Correct.
but he just nods, like, you know,
Oh.
I approve. And then he says, well, I wish you luck, Una, in tracking. Be interested in hearing your report when you come back.
Hopefully I can find something.
And then he turns with everyone else that isn't coming with you, which is basically just the City Watch officer Hughes is coming with you guys, and you start following the footprints.
I would be at least 10 feet in front of
So
everybody.
you're staying back? You're not coming with us?
I mean, if we needed a small group, I'm a pretty big guy.
Well, my whole thing is Una didn't want everybody in a bag of dicks following
okay.
her.
What's the limit at the bag of dicks?
Where's the bag of dicks?
I mean, I
No, I
don't know
didn't
if-
pack that.
No, I
I
mean,
didn't know we were going to be down here so long, or I
like
would have.
there was no need for Ben or like the extra
Yes.
investigators.
Okay.
It was thinning the party down so that way we can try to be a little bit
Okay.
stealthy.
And also keeps
Well, yeah.
makes less footprints.
Right.
Yeah, and it helps her jump. So
Well, I mean, yeah, if Nora wasn't gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
if Nora was gonna stay,
Nora
then I
plans
would
on
have
going
stayed.
with.
But since she's going with, I obviously want to go with and protect her.
Then we'll just retcon that.
Yeah.
And Bass will say he'll stand here and watch the entrance and make sure that nothing happens. And he tells the other two to go back and talk to Lavinia about enchantments for this.
Hans and Franz will turn to Officer Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you again.
Likewise.
I was wondering what do we expect down here? You said you've made forays into the into the sewers before. Is there anything down here we need to worry about?
Sometimes there are beasts that just make their home down here, but otherwise...
What kind of beasts?
Well, usually spiders of sorts, rats, giant rats. There's been a couple other strange creatures that I'm not 100% familiar with the names on that are quite nasty, but we should be alright in a group. It's usually sewer workers traveling by themselves who run into trouble, but we should be alright with a large party. Usually the creatures that are down here don't like light.
That is good to know.
I will.
Light up another rock.
I'll turn to my brother and have him light up one of the fetishes in my hair, so I have to hold something.
Sure. Yeah, easy enough.
Okay.
Yeah, when we keep going, she'd kind of keep an eye on the water too to see if she sees anything in the water as we're going, or if the footprints cross the water.
Okay. You rolled a really good survival earlier, so I'll let you keep it. And you go up about 500 feet back towards the city, and then the footprints just stop. You can see that they kind of turn towards the water edge, and then they're just gone.
Like into the water?
How deep does the water look to be?
It's even with the light, you can't really see the bottom of it.
Get on the
toss
edge.
one of the rocks in.
Tossing it in, it kind of looks like it's at least 8 feet deep.
Do you want me to zoom over?
No, I can. And Una will
Jump in.
and swim over to the other side.
All right.
Hans and Franz is going to actually like raise the light up and look at the ceiling.
All right. There's a bit of a current here with the water flowing out, so make me a swimming athletics.
Yep, absolutely.
Athletics, but you can add your proficiency bonus from it because you're from a village with swimming.
Plus proficiency, so that is an 11.
All right.
Oh, wait, athletics is a 12.
Yeah, you make it across.
How
It's not the most graceful, but
No. How wide is it? The area.
it's about 30 feet across.
30 feet across.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big sewer.
You don't suppose that maybe they took a boat or something?
Do I see, once I get to the other side, do I see anything?
No, there's no
There's no
moorings.
footprints.
I don't know how they would, unless they carried it.
No footprints.
Looking down along the between the water and the ledge, I
Mm-hmm.
want to see if there's any rubbings, based on what my brother said
Oh,
about
for a
if a
boat?
boat came
Yeah.
alongside there.
Give me an investigation or a perception check.
Nice.
Score. Perception 19.
19.
Perception.
You don't see any scuff marks here, like there was a boat that docked.
Cool.
Do you see anything on the ceiling?
They probably just...
Yeah.
What's
when,
your
when I raise up the
Oh,
light,
light.
I look at the ceiling to see if there's anything up above us.
You can give me a perception check too.
That is only an 11, but my passive is 14.
We'll default to your passive. It just looks like the stone ceiling.
Okay. Yeah. Just,
Brickwork. You're kind of admiring it. This is nice brickwork they did down here. Or like support work on here.
I'm gonna take a rope out
Okay.
and hand one end to my brother
Okay.
and like loop the other around my waist to like,
Mm-hmm.
but like give me enough slack so that I can like just hold tight on one end
Okay.
and then loosen the other and kind of shimmy through. But I'll let her go first. I'll let Megan go first. She was.
What are you
Yeah,
doing anything on the other side?
Oh, if I didn't see any footprints, then I guess I would walk down a little bit and see if maybe like up and down a little bit to see if I see them coming out of the water.
Are
at a
you
different
walking north or south?
spot. South first and then back north, just so it like maybe like 5 feet one way, 5 feet the other, maybe like 10 feet.
do you
Just
have
to
a
see.
light source with you?
I have dark vision up to 60 feet.
So no. So we have no idea where she is.
No.
Oh, yeah, it's the lights cantrip is 20 and 20, isn't it?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. It's
both.
dim
You can
light
kind of see her
across.
disappear
Yeah.
a little bit into the shadow. You said
Yeah.
you're going north?
Yeah,
North
South.
and south, both
So,
ways.
okay.
Because I want to see
How
if the
far,
water.
water
far,
color
how
is
far are
like-
you going both ways?
Lights everywhere.
5, 10 feet.
Probably actually 20 feet, just in
20?
case the river took
Oh,
them too far.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go up
See if they get
one
up.
way and then go back the other way, just to see if I saw them come out at a different point. Because that would be like, okay, if the river took them, or if they're swimming a little too far ahead of the current. Either way, just kind of, and then maybe going back to point 0 until I can see them again on the other side.
You don't see anything. It doesn't look like there's any sign, because I would normally make you do a check for it, but somebody actually like pulling themselves out of the water would have like handprints of like the dirt and
Fairly
their
obvious.
body, and it would be pretty obvious. And there's nothing within like the range that you specifically are walking.
Una,
So,
what do you see?
Nothing.
Well, that's weird.
well, there's no light over there, brother. It's not that I don't not see anything in the dark.
Yeah, but I mean, she's pointy eared.
No, I'm not.
The fuck does that mean, brother?
She's human.
I'm human.
She's human.
Oh,
Ish.
no, yeah, no, if she's not, that's right. That's right.
Air quotes.
But
human.
she's
No,
but
no,
she's
that's
but she's a
right.
gloomstalker.
She's a gloomstalker.
And they have you don't
Right.
know that
Right,
as
right,
as a character.
How about I send you a light?
You don't need it.
I don't need it, but thank you.
Well, that's weird too.
Well, anyway, with him holding the one end of the rope, I will explain to him that I want to jump in and go down.
Oh, sure.
Okay. You're
and
gonna
then-
actually go swim the bottom.
Yeah, I'm gonna swim the bottom, see if I can find anything
Give me
down
my
there.
light rock. While you're
And I'll
down
probably
there.
have him kind of like hold me.
Like I'll walk along.
Yeah.
As the.
To
Or do
help
you want
me-
me to like keep the current from
well,
taking you too far?
that, and then I'd like you to walk up current to kind of pull me up current a little bit,
Oh, sure.
just so that I, can get
Just
a-
trolling with my brother.
Give me a perception check or investigation.
Ooh, 6.
You can't see jack shit down here, even with the light. Like there's just you see like the bottom of the like
Turds
the water
floating
just.
by. Just.
No, actually, strangely, this water is clean.
Oh, okay. It's an actual aqueduct. Good. Not sewers.
You think there's probably some river water that maybe came through here at one point, but the water is actually very, very clean.
Strange.
Well, I'll surface and be like, brother, why did I go do that? I'm terrible at looking for things, but I didn't find anything.
Do you want me to go?
Yes! And I'll get out and I'll hold the rope and do the same thing for him.
Okay. Give me a perception or investigation check,
Alright.
Josh.
Hans and Franz is going to remove his kilt since that's not so good in the water.
Well, that's the whole point. You want to be drugged down to the bottom.
Oh, that's right. That's right, I
That's
do.
why I didn't say I'd take anything off.
I was gonna say, is he just freebirding out here?
No, he's got a loincloth on.
Okay.
Fun fact: this is sewer water,
Mm.
right?
No.
No, it's actually
Aqueduct
clean.
water.
Okay.
Una, you know this from living here. There's the clerics do a magical enchantment. There's these rooms that gather all the filthy water that are in separate channels, and then there's cisterns that clean it, and then it goes out and flows into the actual rivers of the city again.
That's a 22 perception.
Hell you.
You are kind of looking for a little bit, just not even quite sure. There's not much down here, and then just there's something kind of that catches your eye, like.
Oh, there's my rock.
And as you pick it up and close by to it, it looks like caught between two of the little bricks on the bottom.
Oh.
Looks like a tiny piece of chalk.
I don't know, brother.
And I'm gonna like basically use my shield like a wakeboard
Sure.
to fight against the current, so it's like lifts me up faster,
Okay.
so I don't really have to swim.
Sport.
Tongue on the rope.
Yeah.
Both.
Why not both?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Kano
Los dos.
Los Dos.
You know, those-
No?
Yeah. No, I'll
I don't even like regular V8.
come on,
It's strawberry.
tug on the
I'm
rope
good.
and like kind of Superman fly up through the water with my shield out front.
Captain America.
America.
He's got a shield.
Huh?
He's got a shield.
Got a
Yeah.
shield. Wait till I start throwing that thing.
Oh no.
Man, I wish I could get a dwarven thrower enchantment put on a shield just like.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
I mean, I don't know why I can't, but I got to find a book on it, or find a dwarven thrower.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, back up to the surface of the water, over to the shore, and as I, get out of the water, I'll put the light up to the chalk, my light stone up to this chalk stick, and kind of examine it a bit.
Okay.
What is it, brother?
No, it's like a piece of chalk. But it didn't dissolve in the water.
So what does it change? Like, is it more
It
texture's more charcoal but white, or
it looks like regular chalk.
It appears to be
Right.
regular chalk. Does anyone
I
have
mean, it's
detect?
just really.
Let me see, brother.
Anyone have
I
detect
do.
magic?
I
or
do.
anything?
no? I could identify it.
Identify. That's what I'm looking
But I'm, just going to hold off on that for now.
Let me see it, brother.
There you go.
for.
Luna would head back to the
Taste-
other side.
Tastes very wet, and the chalk still seems to be pretty intact, which is very unusual for chalk being in water.
Put a mark on the wall.
It just looks like it writes like chalk.
I don't know, brother. I'll identify it later. And Deed will tell me what it does.
I will draw the symbol, or the symbol for our gods. We'll
Oh, sure.
get back to him.
You just made some nice graffiti on the wall. Actually, give me
Things
a
are happening.
dexterity check.
Dang it.
5?
They're not very good drawings of your god's
Oh.
symbol, but it kind of looks like the little.
Is it the epitome
Is
of
it
you
the
tried
Triforce symbol that you made? Is that the
Yeah,
one you
yeah.
made? Okay,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it's the infinity loops.
You get the.
Yeah, the
So in between the triangle,
sure.
right? There's the infinity.
Yeah.
The symbol for
The Celtic
symbol for infinity.
yeah, or constant movement.
Right.
The,
that
Triskelion.
symbol. Yes.
Yeah.
The Triskelion.
The Triskelion. Okay, they're swirls. There's no artistry to it, but they are just basic, kind of like little swirls. They're not 100% like
the artist.
smooth
That's fine.
completely. Like there's a couple spots where like you press the chalk too hard and it kind of like splintered, so you had to like kind of like fill in the line a little bit. But you got it on there.
I'll get back to my brother.
I'll just do a triangle around it,
Complete the Triforce.
Give me a no.
and
That's
then
too many times.
I'll just put it in my pack.
Rowan turns to Nora and says, I wonder if they travel down the river.
Maybe.
And-
I think that's maybe what Una was gonna go check.
Oh, I have a question. Was that chalk
Mm-hmm.
down or upriver from where we were?
It was downriver.
But how? Like not very far, or
Not very far downriver. Probably only about 20 feet downriver.
okay, that's far enough for Because if it was like 5 feet downriver and like in the middle of the thing, I'm like,
I'll ask Hughes what he
it
thinks
probably
about
came
this.
from upriver.
About the chalk,
No,
or
just
just in
about
general.
like do the
He's been
The
making
venerables.
he's been doing basically essentially what Una's been doing, where he's kind of been stalking up and down. He's been like feeling the walls, looking for secret things that open, and he looks kind of frustrated because he doesn't look like he had any better results than Una did in finding anything. He's kind of mumbling to himself like, how far could they swim in this? Like, just in general, like how far could a person swim in this? Like,
do you want me to find out?
Are you proposing to just swim against or with the current to see?
If it's something that's relevant to the investigation, yes.
Well, I'm not really sure how good it would be, because the person who did this might not be as physically fit as you are, so it might even
Probably
be
not.
less of a distance. So
Is Una back on this side?
yes,
by the
Una's
time?
back on this side.
It,
Hey, Una.
it's possible that they could be a druid too and turned into like a fish or something and swam up the river too.
When you say that, Hughes looks very like frustrated and
Like he knows something?
That would make
No,
sense if they were summoning creatures. The druids in our village would summon creatures sometimes. And they obviously summon these.
Yes.
Una would know that druids summon
Yes.
things, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just right.
Yes, you know that.
I would have safely assumed
Yes.
so because we're a
What's
village.
What's
but
my working knowledge on
Hughes
druids?
looks a little disconcerted and says, well, that's another thing for the books. Possibility that the Venerable have magic users now.
Well, I mean, it would make sense, right? Because
No, you're right. It would make sense.
there are thieves guilds, so like the merchant guild who has magic users. Why wouldn't the thieves guild?
We haven't really had many instances with robberies where there has been signs of magic other than maybe them obtaining scrolls. Getting magic items is fairly difficult because they're regulated so much by the actual arcanists who are all associated with the school.
So then maybe it wasn't reported.
Yes, it's very possible. But, yes.
Do we want to keep going? See if we can find where this druid came back ashore?
We certainly can. I planned on going that way, and I would appreciate the company just in case there are some nasties down here.
Hey, Una. You know, it was really hard to tell where you were on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be best. I mean, you said you could see in the dark, but if you maybe had some form of light so we knew where you were when you were away from us.
We don't always want that,
I
brother.
don't have anything that gives off light, but
I mean,
I
I
can
could
take
give you
something
a
away.
rock.
Yeah,
And you
that
can put it
works.
in your pocket when you don't want to be seen.
Sure, I'll take a light rock.
Yeah, I'll take one of the river stones, nice smooth river stone, and put the prayer of light on it and give it to.
She's gonna immediately put
Una.
it in her pocket.
That's fine.
She's just gonna.
Do the smooth ones cast more light?
No, it's just easier to skip.
Okay.
So have you ever seen a skipping stone come at you, and if it's shedding light, that'd be terrifying.
That would be terrifying, actually.
I think it'd be really confusing until it hits you. You'd be like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
What the fuck
It's like
is
advantage
that?
on the attack.
Do you get surprise attack?
Yeah. Confusion attack. Hans and Franz use confusion. It's super effective.
They just do that by talking.
You know what's more effective to confuse them? Both of you walking up and say, "Hi, our name is Hans and Franz."
We are Hans and Franz.
Sorry.
Anyway,
so we keep going?
Yep, you keep going. How far are you guys going? Down.
I mean,
Nora
until we
is
get to
keeping
the
as close to
edge
the
of the
wall as
city.
possible.
I guess, yeah.
And just
Una
keep
would
walking
be
wherever they
towards
do.
the front to make sure there's nothing up front, I guess. No footprints or anything like that. She would kind of be leading down there.
Alright, give me a survival roll.
This is a ledge, right? It's not like a riverbank or anything.
Ooh.
It's like a. It's
We
like
have
it's got a ledge.
Okay.
where
A
people-
23.
You go up. It's probably about a half hour of walking.
Okay.
And you end up going and going, and there's quite a few times where it twists and turns, basically, where there's more openings and whatnot. And you keep walking just following the main path, though, and you get to about the city center, and then it looks like you see some signs of somebody like emerging out of the water, and then just walking up. There's an opening here of steps where it looks like it leads up to actually go to the street level. I would say you guys probably walked for about 45 minutes to get to this part of the city center. So forgive me, people who are really good at math calculations. I don't know how many feet that is. And there's a lot of there's mostly.
say that again?
You guys probably walked about 45 minutes to get to the city center from the riverbank. But that's
Is this a
because
straight tunnel?
no, there's twists and turns.
Okay.
in it.
It just goes back up
Yeah.
to the city?
Yeah, it looks like there's a natural opening and stuff.
So the current
Mhm.
of this aqueduct or whatnot goes to the city center, goes
Yes.
into the city.
Yes. It's no, the current goes towards the river. You guys have been walking against the current.
Oh,
But you're on a ledge, so you don't have to combat with
wait,
that.
why have we been walking
With
against it?
her,
We're
because
not-
the
we're
river
walking away
is
from the
south
river.
of us, so we're going away from the river.
Oh, I thought we were going with the current this whole time.
With
Okay.
Una's kind of survival directionness, knowing how, can she roughly figure out where in the city this might be coming up at?
Yes. It looks like it opens around District 5 to the southeast side of the city market. You do know, because Hughes is with you, he sees, he's like, oh, this is the natural opening. This goes up to the central market. I think, and then if you kind of say where you think you are,
Yeah.
he would say, oh, we're by the silks.
What
This,
do you mean by natural opening?
This is where the
not natural. I mean, it's basically looks like there was when the aqueducts were designed. This was a part of entrance, like a general entrance for people who have to do maintenance work on it.
Southeast corner?
Yeah,
right here.
of the central
Okay.
part
The
of the
wall.
city.
Oh, so the river. Oh, I didn't realize there
There's
was a
two
river
rivers.
that went
Yep,
through the
there
city.
is.
So wait, did we cross another river?
Nope, we
No,
just
the other
followed
river-
that river.
The river that is outside the guild hall by a few thousand feet. You guys ended up curving inward, and all the water that was just flowing from the city that was partly the other river of the city, but also just the natural output of rain, of workhouses, and just it getting filtered and everything like that. That's where all the water comes from.
So there's a quote unquote outdoor river that cuts through the city, right?
And we're in an
Yes.
aqueduct.
And we're
Yeah.
in
An
an
aqueduct.
underwater river
Aqueduct.
that basically
Aqueduct.
follows the external river.
Close.
Not close, not quite.
Okay.
It's not like directly underneath it going the same exact path.
Yeah.
Yes. Sam
a-
is correct.
Man-made river close
Right.
to the natural river.
Okay.
So which side of the river do we come out of?
We're the opposite side of it, or are we on closer to 6?
So
You guys are on the tip of 5.
Yeah,
So,
so-
like, there's that road that crosses there.
Yeah.
You are right between 5 and 6, which is Silk's district and the Temple district.
and this is where
So we're on
that
the east side
aqueduct
of the other
starts.
of the river that goes through town.
You're on the west
Hmm?
side.
We're on the west side of 5.
Yes.
Well, right, but we're on the east side of town.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the start of this aqueduct.
Yes.
Basically,
it's a maintenance hatch for the aqueduct.
Yes.
So then
So-
does it continue north past here?
I would assume it'd go underneath.
It goes. It continues north, but you can see it start curving to go east further a little bit more.
Okay.
Megan knew the name of that district. Pulled up.
I do not actually know the name of that
I
district.
didn't give you that one. Okay. Let me
Nope, I have.
So 5 is the silks.
5
Silk.
is the Silks, is what Hughes says. 3 is East Market, and that's where you guys went to the Rabbit Hole Tavern, or House of Ill Repute. House of Lady Favorite. What?
And District 3 is called the what?
East Market.
That's where the shaved beetle was. The rabbit hole.
I mean, there might have been a shaved beaver if you would have paid for some services there, but
We only had so much time.
So as we were going down the aqueduct,
Yep.
were we on separate sides? Like
no,
one was
you
on
guys were
one
all on
side?
the
Okay.
same side.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Una
crossed
came
back
back.
over.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, you were all on the same side.
I didn't want to have to cross the river.
What? You could probably stand on it.
Yeah, well, he can
Do I
be
float?
waterlogged.
Do I float?
You do float, actually, because
Woo!
you're made of wood.
He's a witch!
Oddly, you can't burn me.
Anything will burn.
With
Yeah.
enough kerosene.
Sacred flame.
I would like to invite you into my fort. Here, have this nice warm seat. Pumping the bellows.
Here, hold this
my
coat.
brother. Well, I'm going
Yes,
to
Leonora.
leave you here, and I'm going to go talk to the. I'm gonna go see if there's somebody who mans the aqueducts who can see if they saw anyone cross through here, because this is locked. So, see who came through last
Wait.
night.
It's,
There's a gate. There's a gate.
in
You have to
front
have a
of
key to get in.
so how do we get out?
We have to go back.
You have to. He goes up to the top and is kind of yelling, "Hey, officer
us
here, open up!"
So, is there a access to the surface?
Yes,
Here?
there's
Okay.
a gate, and then you
Maybe we
kind of
should get some
see
peace
a
tools.
guy who is was kind of dozing off, and he's just like, "Huh?"
Well, is the gate here underground?
Yes.
But Officer Hughes climbs a ladder to go to the surface and is like, "Hey,
No.
let us
He
through."
goes
Like
up
a
these stairs.
ramp.
There's some. There's or not stairs. There's a ramp. Yes, there's a little bit of a
So
ramp.
so the gate is up towards the top where we can
Yes,
see it?
it's towards the top. You can see it. And then it looks like it levels, and then it goes up to the right a little bit more, where there's another ramp up. But in between there's the gate, and you see a little bit of a kind of just a, not really an office per se, but a little watch out place
Sure.
with some tools and stuff in it.
So does the water just continue on, and there's no gate in between, in the water's path,
No.
where we could just keep going?
You could keep going if
Okay.
you wanted to.
But Officer Hughes is
It says he's gonna go up and see if anyone, because you guys Megan's survival roll, she saw that it looked like somebody got out of the water here and went up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, where have you been?
I think I was writing down the district.
Okay. So no, there's a guy who is like, oh, what are you doing down there? And Hughes shows his badge and he's like, I'm Officer Hughes from the Shades Watch House. We're investigating a crime. I need to know who came through here last night. And the guy is like, well, I wasn't on shift last night.
Well, thank God, because you were sleeping now.
Who the fuck are you? Telling me I shouldn't be sleeping.
I'm Hans and Franz and you are on the job.
Una's gonna see if she can possibly, maybe on the off chance, find those footprints again and see where they go, if that's okay.
They go up the ramp, so they just kind of disappear.
How are we outside now in the district, or are we still on the ramp?
Because of how the ramp is, like, and it's not as close to the water, and there's not as much of, like, that mildew and just mud and grime that kind of builds up on the walkway, there's no more footprints. It's just stone.
No, even, like, water footprints? Like,
no, because it would have been hours ago.
No. So they evaporated.
Yeah. They're not there. I'm sorry, huh?
Good thought, though.
You had good
feet print, man.
No, they would have tried. It's been out. It's been since, like, because this fight happened at, like,
it's almost been 12
1
hours.
in the morning, probably. Or, no, it probably happened at, like, 2:30 in the morning, so, and you guys are at lunch, past lunch.
What time did you come on this morning, then?
Sorry, I had to burp. I just got here, like, at 8.
Did you see any footprints? What footprints coming up the ramp?
No.
Who was the officer here before you?
Carl.
Carl who?
Damn it, Carl.
Carl who?
He just says Carl.
And I asked him, Carl who?
Carl Schrodinger.
Does he have a cat?
How did you know?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it isn't both.
He's both on duty and off duty, asleep and awake at the same time.
So is this Carl as competent as you are at his job?
Oh.
I don't care what business guy.
No.
I need more wine so I'm more like sassy person. I'm quite good at my job, thank you very much, and I suppose he's all right at his job. I don't really talk to him much except for when we change shifts.
No company picnics.
Who wants to hang out with their coworkers at a picnic?
I think that would be very enjoyable.
These are my coworkers, and we eat together every day.
Well, yeah, that's called working for the same place. Look, officer, do I have to answer his questions? And Hughes is like, no. Well, yes, I'm asking you the same questions. Can you tell me who this Carl is and how I might find him to ask him questions? And Hughes gives him, like, the hell's the guy's name?
Carl. Nope.
No, Carl's the guy who got off
Yep.
shift. You said, what is his name? What did I name him?
Nobody asked what his name was.
Oh,
Nobody
he'll
asked
tell,
us what to ask his name.
he'll tell his name. He'll say where Carl lives and his address. He's like,
His address?
So he doesn't know him that well, but he knows his address?
no, not
What's
his.
his
I'm sorry,
social-
not his address. He
What's his
tells.
social security number?
He says that
What is my
like
name?
Well, so
he can put Hughes can look him up by talking to their supervisor.
Like the city works system?
Yeah, the city
Right.
work system. Basically.
so this isn't like an officer of the
No,
watch.
he's just
No, it's
supposed
a
to walk. No,
maintenance.
he's just a
Okay.
maintenance person.
Okay.
He's just mall security.
Okay.
Otherwise, Mr. Hobbs would know who he was, I'd assume.
Hughes?
He was. Why did I think Hobbs?
I think
lost my mind.
is that Una's nickname for him?
Yes! Una's nickname for him is Hobbs.
Okay.
This is
No
the first
idea
time we
why.
talked to him.
For Officer Hughes?
It would probably be
Why
like
not?
I just thought that's what your name was, so I just stuck with it
Yeah.
afterward.
Too much work to
Hughes
We've
is
been
remember.
known you for like
Yeah.
3 hours.
You're Hobbs.
You're Hobbs.
Hi, Hobbs.
But yeah.
Okay.
So, he was like, well, could you at least be a good chap and unlock the door for us and let us up through here? And I was like, well, how do I know you're legit? And he's like, I just showed you my badge.
And we all show him our sigil, or at least Hans and Franz shows him the sigil
Yeah,
to
Nora shows
the
hers.
Merchants Guild.
I don't think that matters.
Rowan takes his out of his.
We are here on business of the Merchants Guild. There was an attempted thievery, and you are obstructing our investigation.
He kind of just doesn't really care, but he does open the gate because of Hughes' badge.
Grab him by the throat and toss him into the river.
And then close the door.
No, but you guys get.
I will stop as I walk past him and just kind of like turn and get close and be like, pride in your work is everything. Just want you to know, life is better if you take pride in your work. I'll leave.
He doesn't really have a reaction.
I don't really care.
He just goes back to his little spot, and Hughes walks up the street with you guys.
We are Hans and
Yes.
Fran's demotivational poster.
Going forward, whenever we're in the area, I'm gonna come over and look in here, and if I see him on shift and sleeping, I'm gonna throw rocks at him.
Okay.
Just FYI.
You gotta remember that yourself, because I'm probably gonna forget.
That's fine.
District 5, throw rocks.
To let the record show, I have declared my intentions.
Well, and he basically says, well, I am going to go over and talk to the city aqueduct people and try to get an appointment with them. I appreciate you guys accompanying me in the sewers. I don't know if you want to follow me to the aqueduct place or if you want to go do other things with your day, but the law basically is going to handle it at this point.
Is there any taverns or anything like in the immediate vicinity here?
There's a lot. You guys are essentially in this area that is the central market, so through this whole loop, there's just shops, there's
I mean, like anything
this
from
is-
like, we come up to the top of the ramp, do I see any drinking establishments like immediately right here?
Yeah, you do. Give me a second to name it.
One on each corner.
I would assume that being the silks, this is a more high end, right?
Yeah.
It's the textile district, so there's a lot of warehouses, but there is also a lot of
Okay.
middle class living here because a lot of people who own
That's warehousing.
there's a lot
Gotcha.
of people who own
Okay.
the warehouses here that
Yeah, perfect place for some skeevy taverns.
Let's see.
I mean, quality establishments.
That's for the shades, not the subs. The shades are the crappy Sealy ones.
Sealy?
Steely, I think she means.
Whatever.
I don't know what stealing is.
Steely Dan.
Stealing, yeah, stealing. And,
Steely gaze.
Shady. Shady ones.
So
Shades.
so textile is just like fabrics, right? That's what
Yeah.
textile means.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess one of the things that at one point Hans and Franz would want to do is go find the pearl that he would need to cast Identify.
Okay.
For the chalk?
Yeah. But also just to have the pearl.
Just to have it.
You know, that's at some point. Like as far as this investigation goes, like as far as I'm concerned, Officer Hughes, like we shouldn't be necessarily doing the laws.
Yeah, he
job.
basically says he'll follow up and stuff, but he does appreciate your help, and he gives you like his
badge number.
he gives you guys the information to look him up at the guild house in the Shades, which is where his
Guild house.
I'm sorry, watch house in the Shades.
Okay.
If you need to come talk to him and stuff, because he expresses interest in talking to you guys
Sure.
again with more information. And he does say, thank you for... Shouldn't talk with wine in my hand. Thank you for your words to the guildmaster. It was nice to have his temper deflected a bit from me. I mean, I can handle it, but I appreciate your kind gesture.
You're welcome.
Yeah, of course.
You are a good man, officer.
We hope to work very closely with you in
the future.
Getting rid of the venerables.
He kind of smiles again. He's like, ugh. Like, I kind of laughed at you when you guys said that yesterday, but, maybe I have a little bit more faith in you guys today. And he shakes your hands.
Give him a good.
Yes.
Clasp on the shoulder.
He's like,
No,
and then he'll
like
kind of,
that.
and then he'll kind of return it like, yeah, like.
Like forearm
Yes.
clasp.
Hey, old travelers, and well met. Thank you for listening to our podcast. This is a totally new experience for all of us, and we're glad that you're here with us. Our story lives in many places, but all of them lead back to Patreon. Full episodes of our podcast are released every 2 weeks on our Patreon for subscribers only, and half episodes of our sessions are available weekly on YouTube and wherever you find podcasts starting the following week. So, if you hate waiting, subscribe to us on Patreon for early access. If you like the show, consider sharing it on Twitter using hashtag #TheWesterverse. You can also follow us all over other social media accounts named The Westerverse for updates and other RPG-related content. That about wraps it up for our shameless plugs. Now, onward, adventurers!
So anyway, he'll shake your hands and kind of like wave off, and then he heads off towards the aqueduct management place, which he knows where it is, but I don't, because I'm a bad DM.
Una,
You're not a bad
do you think
DM.
that there's any purpose for us to go back down into the underground river and follow anything down there? Do you think there could be a link to the Venerables, or do you think that this is just where they got out?
I think that this is just where they got out, unfortunately, because you can clearly see that they were in the water for a while, and then they came out here. I don't know. Someone must have let them out, because I don't know. Do I see on the lock if it was tampered with at all?
You'd have to go back and make a check on it.
Because we're right there, anyways, right?
Well, we left.
You guys went
talked
off
to
into the
Hughes.
city street.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go see if maybe he tampered with the lock to get out, and then maybe went back and then down back. But I only saw the footprints going one way, so
I wouldn't doubt if this Carl Schrodinger was paid off to let him out.
that's true.
He is both guilty and not guilty at the same time.
Look, all suspects are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law.
No, when you're Schrodinger.
No, once somebody observes that he's guilty.
Schrodinger's verdict.
Once somebody observes that he's guilty, he's
You
guilty.
guys haven't observed anything, so you don't know if he's innocent or guilty.
Well, we observed it already. Observed the fuck out of that. So
We saw the sweat on
Yeah,
Chad's face. He
you-
knows Carl's guilty.
There's a couple,
I'm
but
naming the other guy Chad.
there's like a couple nearby. There's one that's a little bit fancier.
Chad Brandonson.
Mm.
That is the maintenance worker that was snapping.
That didn't have a
Chad
name.
Brandonson.
Okay.
For any Chads or Brandons listening to this, you're all jerks.
I am not sorry.
So anywho,
He's gonna mark that.
tavern.
There's a few. What kind are you looking for?
I'm looking for
I
something
just need that as a
as
soundbite.
close to the entrance here as I can.
Okay.
Preferably with an alley kind of facing this way, or a front facing this way.
There's not really an alley. They kind of look like it's squeezed a little bit in between like another larger building, which you would guess might be a warehouse, and then it's called the Lamb.
Not the cat.
Not the cat.
The lamb is the name of the tavern.
The Lamb is the name of the tavern.
Does
And
that sound
this is in
cheesy?
District 5.
Mm-hmm.
Just right up the entrance here from the aqueducts.
Very, very interesting. Your inner like your past characters who were like trackers is showing a little bit.
Careful, Andrew, your tracker is showing.
Yeah, let me be the tracker for once. I'll try not to be shady anymore.
Well, by all means.
Is that a promise?
There are no promises. in
Ah,
D&D.
shady!
I guess, yeah. Una would go to the shadiest looking tavern that is within a block or two of the entrance.
Well, no, I'm trying to find something very specific.
Oh, what are you trying to find?
I'm trying to find
The
the closest one here.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there, talk to the bartender, see if they have regulars that maybe pass out up front, or like they get kicked out last night. See if we can find somebody who may have witnessed somebody coming out of the sewers last night, or out of the aqueducts.
Go for it.
You go to
Well, I would say this to the group, so everyone wants to.
But you didn't say it in your voice, so.
So what I'm looking for is I'm trying to find somebody from the closest bar here who may have got kicked out last night, maybe took a little nap or something, maybe saw somebody coming out of the aqueducts. And then I'll go and talk to the bartender.
All right, let me generate.
Grab him by the collar, lift him up.
Did I
Did
notice
you see anything?
if the grate made a lot of noise when you opened it? Like if it's rusty and it does that eek sound, like when
Or
we
is
were
it well
leaving
oiled?
it? Or was it?
No,
Their
it
maintenance workers.
clanked. It clanked a bit when he unlocked it.
Like-
And when it swung, it made like a.
Okay.
Noise.
How loud do we like? Could it be heard from across the block? Could it wake somebody up?
No, because
Not
it's
that.
under. It's
Okay.
underground, like by at least another 30 feet
Okay.
up. So it would have traveled like 30 feet probably, but that's about it. You wouldn't have heard it from the city street.
That's my question.
So you go into the Lamb. This is a pretty nice looking establishment. It's probably middle class range. It's bustling because it's about like 1:30 in the afternoon now, and there's people who are just kind of having a late lunch and chatting. Looks like there's some like people who are factory workers here. It looks like there's some people who just were shopping and sitting and drinking. The bartender is a very cute, like redheaded and freckled, tall, like
Perfect.
barmaid, and she just is, very bubbly looking personality, and she kind of like sees you come in. She's like,
Wait, she has a bubbly looking personality?
she's got a bubbly personality.
Wards everywhere.
Sorry.
Oh, God, what's a person... Shit, bitch? I don't know. Anyway,
Good day. What can I get for y'all?
Is she like a southern Irish woman?
Shut up.
Good day, what can I get for y'all?
Yes and yes.
I will get drinks for my friends here. The group
Okay.
at large here.
That can be done. What will you all have for drinks? I gotta stick to camper southern accents here.
Why not? They could
I
have
don't know.
moved up.
Whatever. Continue. What would all of
It's
you
a-
like to drink?
Hybrid.
I will take an ale.
All right. What kind of ale? We have quite a few options here. We have more of the lower class stuff. We have more
Something
expensive.
dark.
Dark? Okay, dark and foamy. I've got that for you. And then, what about for you, dear?
Do you have a drink that makes you think of a snake?
Well, I don't think
The fuck do you mean, brother?
I don't have one where people think of a
Snake bite.
I know what you mean. but-
there's not one that they say they see a snake normally when they drink it, but there is one that you'll see things if you drink it.
Well, like the Green Fairy.
Yes, actually, that's what it's called.
Perfect.
No, brother. We have stuff to do today.
He looks like he could handle a drink.
You have to open up your mind to be able to find things unseen.
But you have to be able to see things that are also real.
But don't worry. They all mix
You say
together.
that every time, brother.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, every time it's not.
I have you.
Okay.
Okay, so a green fairy for you, a dark ale for you, and she points to Una. What will you have, dear?
I'm on the job, so nothing for me. Thanks, though.
Do you want anything like water or just juice?
No, I'm okay, but thank you.
What about you, dear?
What juices do you have?
We have a very sweet juice that's got just a little bit of tartness from the south. It's made of pomegranates. I don't know if you've ever had that before. It's very good. We have a raspberry.
What's a pomegranate?
You know what? I'll give you a little sample of it and see if you like it.
When you open up the fruit, it looks like the insides of a body.
You have never seen a pomegranate before.
Okay.
You know what? No, fuck it. You have, just because I'm on that line to the canon.
Nora is absolutely horrified.
It's a great way to get someone to eat
Delicious.
something.
It doesn't look like the inside of a body, dear.
I mean, it doesn't taste like.
So
the
have you
inside
ever
of a
seen?
body.
Have you ever seen a
Not that I would
grapefruit
know.
before?
A what?
A
Yeah.
grapefruit?
Me neither.
Yes.
Okay. It looks like that, except for there's little they look like little rubies inside, and they have juice.
Oh.
So that's what pomegranate is. But I'll give you a sample and see if you like it.
Okay.
What about for you? And she kind of gives you a look like, oh, it's a tree person, but she's actually pretty. She doesn't get phased too much. She's like, and anything for
I
you,
would
my
like
dear.
mineral water.
She doesn't get phased at all? Not even a
She's
little
pretty.
bit?
Or
Or she's just being professional?
She's being professional.
Okay, good. Insight check later, but he says, I would like some water, please.
Right away. And then she'll go off and get you guys your drinks.
Would you like it in a vase?
I'm just gonna sit in it.
No, little planter.
I thought that's his Quicklets are for.
Yeah.
He just puts a twist.
Just puts his hand in the glass.
I mean, that'd be the way to do it, right?
So 5 silver for the green fairy.
Okay.
2 silver for the ale. Nothing for you. She gives you the sample for 3, and then water she doesn't charge you for. So
Damn straight.
So yeah. You
Would
have
you date-
pomegranate juice. Whether Nora likes
Excellent.
it or not is up to you.
She does.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you? How big of a drink of that would you like, Sweetling?
Just a small one.
Just a
please.
small one. All right. And she'll go ahead and get you like a little cup of it and hand it over.
What was her name?
You guys didn't
I mean,
ask.
Hello,
okay.
what is your
We
name?
are Hans and Franz. What is your name?
My name is Misty.
What bar is that?
Is this a strip joint? Misty, the reason that we are here today is that we are investigating an attempt of a theft. We believe by certain individuals that live in the bowels of the city, or that may are the bowels of the city. I'm not sure. But I was wondering if sometime early this morning, maybe you had some. Jesus, Zorro. If you maybe had some rowdy individuals that got kicked out, maybe take a little nap outside.
Well, I was actually. What time of this morning was it?
Probably a little before 8.
No, like 4 or 5?
Probably.
4, maybe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Between probably.
Well-
Let me think, because you guys that encounter happened at 2:30.
Between
And
3
it took about
o'clock and
45
5.
minutes. Yeah, so 3 o'clock and 5. Well, actually, I was in bed at that time, and my assistant was running and closing up shop. We normally close around 3 in the morning. I'd have to ask him, but
What is his name?
his name is Fred.
These are some on-point names.
What time does Fred come in?
He'll be in the next few hours. He'll be in by like 4. So if you guys, I don't know if you want to wait here this whole time. We could get you some food. Otherwise, it's
What time is
it's
it?
like 1:30. But otherwise, like you could do some shopping. The temple district's nearby.
Wait, what?
Ooh,
Oh, are
Nora,
you new?
didn't you want to go to the temple?
Yeah, I'd like to if we have time to make it over there.
Nora, he will be on tonight. We can come back anytime this evening. If you want to go to the temple, let us go.
Okay.
I mean, you probably won't find a whole lot there. But you know, if you really need to just check that one off, we could do that.
Okay.
So you guys are gonna go to the temple after you finish drinks and stuff. All right.
for the record, listeners, Hans and Franz doesn't put much faith in the
the local,
organized religion.
Oh, the local religion.
The local religion, right? Yeah. Just in
Did Nora
case there's
finish the
any
book?
misunderstanding.
You finished enough of the notes because you were skimming specifically for that information, and it was mostly cloistered in one section of the
Okay.
book. Give me 1 minute, I gotta find something. So you guys are going to the temple district?
How close is it?
It's only like a block away is the tip of where it starts, so
Well, we only want the tip.
No, just the tip.
just the tip. It's the best part.
Rowan takes a little bit of the water and sort of sprinkles it on his little hair tree.
She'll kind of like look and say, you know, I've never met a tree person before. It's been very nice to see someone visit my establishment.
It is my pleasure.
Actually, so this is kind of interesting, right? So you actually have leaves,
Yep.
right? So oddly enough, Rowan probably processes by photosynthesis.
Yeah. That's how he eats is the sun
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
water.
and water.
Well, right. That's
Yeah.
he takes the water and turns it into sugar through photosynthesis.
I'm so sweet.
You're
Yeah.
just so sweet.
Mm.
But my
What, do you
bark,
want to eat him?
my
No, we're just gonna
Yeah.
Lick
we're
him?
just gonna slowly
No,
bleed him
Yeah, we'll
into
just
his vat,
put a tap in,
and then we'll make some
drain
really,
his
really,
sap.
really
I
good
didn't think your
meat.
blood was sap. That's not canon in my head, but
What do you mean? He processes photosynthesis.
Processes complex sugars, makes energy, as a plant would.
As a wood plant. No.
Oh wait, that's not the order those words go in.
Is it plant wood? No, that's even
As
weirder.
a wood plant would.
As a wood
Plant.
plant would. There you go.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway.
for the two groups going, I would like one person from each group to roll me a d20 and add their charisma modifier. We're gonna see who goes first.
Ooh.
Charisma?
I've got good charisma.
Yeah.
+2.
Well,
I don't.
I got +2.
Well, it's between
Oh, you
and-
don't?
No.
Yeah, this is between
Are
you
you
and Megan,
negative?
so-
Wait.
No, for their group. You guys.
If you're negative, you're not rolling.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not for you to decide.
I have a +2.
Oh, you can roll. I'll let
13.
13.
Josh, Hans, and Franz roll.
3.
Fuck.
3? Okay, so we will have the group going to
But
the temple
I am a
district first.
guide, so hopefully we don't get lost.
Let's just see.
Oh, no, this was
This
a
is to
social
see
check.
who goes first.
Yeah,
Alright.
I rolled
This is a
15.
social check.
So we're gonna have I just need one.
Oh.
But
And
we
he,
still won.
And he volunteered, so.
I rolled
As
15.
tribute. Look, next
He
time
beat
you
his
guys.
That one was actually a 14.
Next
Okay.
time we will have the barbarians go fist the cuff over, see who gets to go
Ooh,
first, and
okay.
it will be
Put a
it will be
ball, put a
actually
ball.
Aaron and Andrew fighting.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I've got a magical weapon.
No,
actual
you're actual
Aaron and
fighting.
Andrew fist fighting in the kitchen.
It's fine with me.
Outside. Aaron.
Anyway.
Okay, so you guys are going first. You travel a little bit west. You follow the circle that the city market finds itself in. What?
Well, it was just.
The temple district, you guys note it from across the textile part of town you were in, because the buildings are incredibly tall here. They're probably about 250 feet tall. They're massive. There is huge columns. There is incredible looking stained glass. There's statues everywhere. You're not 100% sure what they're statues of because none of you are from this culture. But this, inside the temple district, it actually is like another mini market where it's people selling charms, prayer blessings, holy relics, and all sorts of things, basically. There's people yelling, get this to protect against demons! Have Elios's blessing!
Rowan walks over to every peddler.
And Nora keeps continuously going to him and grabbing his arm and pulling him back and then doing that over and over
Yeah.
again.
Every time someone's like, "Oh, get this," I'm like, "Okay, here I go."
I will take her on and be like, Rowan, no, this is all garbage. If you want something holy made, speak to my brother.
Oh,
For now, just stay here, okay?
okay.
It is honestly kind of overwhelming, though. There's a lot here.
There's a lot of people. I'm more used to the woods with the animals, and not so many people.
Well, I don't recognize any statues or anything, and
She's gonna flip through the book a little
Okay.
bit and see if maybe she can, like, identify based on what she read if there's anything that seems familiar.
Give me an insight check.
No, I don't want to roll that one. I want to try this one. Insight, you said? Much better. That is a 21.
Perfect. Alright. You were mainly looking for one thing in the book, but there is a section towards the beginning where it just kind of lists what each of the gods are of the Myra Pantheon. And there's 12 of them, and you kind of recognize there's a temple in front of it that is incredibly ornate. There is gold sort of shafts of wheat that are carved from it. You would guess actual gold is what it looks like. And a man kind of standing over it smiling with like a sun behind him. And you think that this is the god of agriculture, law, light, and order, and also the sun. You see one of a woman who the statue is carved out of beautiful white marble, and she has her hair looks like it's flowing, and there actually looks like there's raindrops on her skin, and the detail is incredible. It almost looks like somebody is standing there with water dripped across them. That's how close everything is, and the folds are the fabric. And she has a shield on her arm, and you recognize this as Rasa, the goddess of rain, protection, and purity. You go down a little ways and you see a temple that looks like everyone's drunk in front of, and you think that's the temple to the wine god. You're not 100% sure what his name was because you kind of skipped over it.
Oh wait.
Soma.
There's a temple with a man holding what looks like a lightning bolt in it, and he is jacked as fuck and looks like he wants to do battle with anybody. His gaze just looks like, come at me, he's ready to challenge anybody.
I love that description.
You almost, when you're looking at it, it's like, oh, it looks almost a little bit like Hans and Franz. And you just keep going.
Yeah, we're kind of gods, you know.
Yeah. Very godlike.
Nora just kind of giggles under her breath.
There's one temple that is a little bit more awkward to go by, and it looks like there's like couples in front of it who are getting very PDA friendly. There's flowers everywhere. It smells like horrible amounts of cologne. It kind of gives you a headache as you go by it.
That's
It's
a
American
temple.
Eagle.
It's American Eagle, yeah.
Yes, you go
That's
by
a
an American
temple?
Eagle. Yes.
Oh,
And there's
What
two gods in front of this
Never mind, I don't
one.
want to know.
They look kind of like a male and a female god, where they could be twins and their counterparts. And the one,
Incest.
you kind of skipped over this part of the book, Nora, but you're pretty sure that they represent like male and female sexuality, and they are the gods of marriage, fertility, sex, pleasure, desire, and all.
Yeah,
that.
she quickly makes her way away
There's
from that
a lot
one.
of salespeople in front of this one who are trying to sell certain things.
Hmm.
But you're
Certain
kind of.
things.
Dick hats.
Give me an insight check.
Well, don't they have what
Oh, I
they're
suppose, yeah.
selling on display or
They
something?
look like things for pleasure enhancement and devices, and they sell oils, and there's people saying, like, if you put this oil on, you'll be the greatest lover ever. There's,
Put the oil on where?
well, anywhere you want. It's only 5
So
gold.
I put
Would
on
you
my
like
elbow,
it?
it'll make me a great lover?
Yes,
It doesn't
only
make any
5 gold.
sense.
Have you ever made love with your elbow?
Your potions are shams, I don't agree with them.
That's right.
Do you
Tell him about the hair.
Do you walking, or do you get into conversation?
Over his shoulder, be like, the hair is the only god of fertility.
They kind of just start ignoring you and start shouting to somebody else to come buy their shit. Like,
That's fun.
um
As we're walking through here, I am going to cast Detect Magic.
okay.
Do I pick up anything actually magical?
Yeah, there's some of the vendors are selling things with light magical auras. There's ones that give off a charm effect. That's what the oils kind of give off. Like maybe it's a temporary like libido boost. Charms make you seem more attractive. There's ones that have protection auras, or like abjuration is the
Yep.
aura of like, yes, abjuration auras. That you think maybe kind of repel maybe spirits. So there does actually seem to be some
Did
divine.
you bring protection? Yes, I have this abjuration potion. It repels spirits. What does that do in this situation?
Means our baby will not have a spirit? Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is how you give birth to redheads.
Wow. Don't choke, Sam, please.
We're good.
Sorry.
So I guess if there was actual magical effects, he
There is
probably-
some actual magical effects on some of these. You kind of think that like it's not a very strong magical effect, but
Enough for 5 gold.
It's 5 gold.
but yeah, you guys kind of
So-
were walking for a while.
What of the temple are you looking for?
Hold on.
I liked the man with the wheat. And the man with the lightning kind of looked like you, Hans and Franz.
Uh-oh.
Do you have lightning?
He's grease lightning.
I just tend to make people thunderstruck.
That's my brother.
Rowan sort of just blankly looks at you,
That's fine.
completely
It's-
oblivious to
No, it's deserved.
Yep, whatever you're
Deserves
saying.
that.
Hey, no copyright.
Well, it's clearing my throat.
I mean, not really looking for anything in specific. Mostly just, I read about it in the book you gave me. It was something about there's a goddess of death, I guess. And it was quite morbid. I'll admit I skipped over a lot of it. It kind of scared me. A little
What's the
bit.
goddess of death in
I'm
our
looking that
pantheon?
up right now.
Give me-
Forsen?
No, in
Forian.
your
Yeah.
oh,
Forian.
Forian.
Forian. Oh, you wish to speak about Forian.
That's not the name of the book.
It wasn't the name that was in the book, but I guess that is that the one that you know of?
That is the god of death. Yes. Well, it's one of her aspects.
I see.
My brother and I would be. Well, my brother's not here. I motioned to my brother who's not here and go,
Brother, why?
This happens every time we separate. My brother and I would be more than happy to go over it with you.
Okay. Well, I know that they had a different one in the book.
Their religions are weird over here. It don't make much sense.
It was kind of confusing. I mean, we don't have things like this where I come from either.
Do you not have deities where you come from?
Oh, well, we do. They're just really, really different.
Different how?
They're much more simple. Not so many things all crammed together with one deity or spread apart through multiple. It's just, we focus a lot on nature.
Everything here is very complex,
Mm-hmm.
whereas everything at home is very simple.
I understand. We have 3 gods where I come from. They each have 3 aspects. Makes it very simple. Very easy to know who to go to when you have a question. Yeah,
So you guys walk
place,
for,
like, in
no, you guys
particular-
walk for a while. And do you want to keep doing some RP stuff or no?
Not in particular.
Okay.
She's just keeping an eye out for something that looks familiar.
Did the book name who the god of death was?
Yeah,
It did. I just didn't say.
She didn't say
Is that Moria?
Yes, but you don't really know that.
I mean, we do because one of our gods is the saint of Moria.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You bought a book. Well, you bought something where you at least
No,
got
we
the
were
name.
told.
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Raven told us this.
Okay. Yes, that's right.
Well,
Anyway,
Right.
yes.
Well, I mean, yeah. If we're just gonna like walk around, Hans and Franz will just kind of give her a rundown of
Okay.
the 3 goddesses and whatnot.
Nora would be listening very intently.
So for you, Sam,
Mhm.
so there's Forian, who
Okay.
so our
I'll take
pantheon has 3
I'll send
sisters. Is
Okay.
3 sisters.
Okay.
So we have Forian, Moru, and Angid.
Moru
Okay.
is the goddess that I follow.
And Angid is the goddess that I follow, and Forian is one of the 3rd sister.
Which we
Uh,
both
Mhm.
follow
I mean, we
all
we
of them
follow
to an
them
extent.
But
But-
you like
but-
have a dedication.
Right, our aspects. So my Hans and Franz is Angid is craftsmanship, poetry, and healing, and Moru.
Is fate,
Yep,
Fertility.
and
Protection, like the
And
land, sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
the
Of
land,
the land,
that sort
yeah.
of thing.
um,
And then Forian
Is it battle?
is war,
war,
death,
death,
and
Hunting.
the hunt.
Yeah, the hunt.
and I'll tell her sovereignty is the
Elk.
Elk.
Is the elk. The fate is
Horse.
the horse. The hare is fertility. The bee is is craftsmanship. The serpent is healing. What was
Nightingale is
the nightingale's
poetry.
poetry? The
Slash
wolf
storytelling.
is war.
The bear is death.
No, the bear is hunting.
The bear's
Oh,
hunting.
sorry.
Um,
And butterfly.
No, the
Butterflies.
raven.
The
the
raven.
the
Raven.
raven
is
is death.
Yeah.
Nora's just kind of pretty quiet, taking all of this.
Okay. You guys are walking for like a little bit, and you kind of find your way to an opening, where it just looks like a city. Like you think it would just be like an opening for people to kind of sit and talk and everything, but there's no chairs. And you look, and there's this arch just sitting there, and it has like a slightly translucent black veil kind of like waving in the wind in front of it, and right below it are some stairs, it looks like, that just go underground.
Is there anybody standing here?
No.
I think
Does my detect magic go off?
I think this is where we're supposed, where I want to go. Will you
What?
guys come with me though? Because it looks scary.
It does look very
Of course.
scary.
What does my detect magic pick up on this?
No. It just seems like stairs going down.
This is
Nora
me in a
goes.
black veil.
It
nothing?
just it just looks like
Nora
organic.
goes.
Yeah, it's just organic material. Nora goes down first.
Rowan close behind.
It's rotten moss.
Let's see.
Kind of use your sword.
As you walk down these steps, you see that you are descending into the earth. The steps are lightly illuminated by lights that give off a faint blue flickering glow. And then occasionally there's like a soft yellow light also as you descend. You go down about 30 feet down these steps. And at the bottom of this of these stairs is a curtain that reaches from the bottom of the steps to the top, and it's made from similar fabric, only this time because you're not in this light day, it doesn't look as translucent, so that you can't see to the other side of it. But you can see that there seems to almost be some gentle force of wind, even though you're underground, that is moving it to and fro slightly, like a gentle breeze caressing it.
She just keeps walking until she ends up finding somebody. Doesn't
Alright.
matter who.
All right, you walk through the veil and you enter a round antechamber. The walls are decorated in black crystal, ascending to a domed roof, which turns into stained glass at the top. And it depicts a dark-robed figure in a veil, covering their face, extending their hands outward in a welcoming gesture. On the floor, you see a mosaic in the limestone of black and silver marble tiles, forming an archway in a veil, very similar to the one you saw at the top of the temple. There is a figure in the room that there doesn't seem to be doors, there's just more curtains blocking the entrances. But there is a person standing in dark robes. You can't really tell if they're a man or a woman because of the robes, and they have a veil covering their face. The room is lightly lit with the same blue and yellow globes that lit the stairs, and they bow respectfully and walk forward and say, "Welcome to our goddess's temple. How may I help you?"
My name is Nora, and this is my friend Hans and Franz, and this is my brother, and
Hello, my name is Rowan.
And she and they nod respectfully.
Roll for initiative.
I actually had some questions if you have the time. I don't want to interrupt if you were in the middle of something.
It is my job to greet those who seek answers of what happens in the next life. Please,
Sacrifice can wait
come
till
with
later.
me.
She'll follow.
Would you like your friends to join you?
3
Some
sacrifices
people,
are
when
better
they
than
ask
one.
questions about death, prefer to be alone. But your friends are more than welcome to. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
I'll bring them with.
Okay. And you walk. It's a big ass circular room, and it feels very empty with just you guys in it. But they kind of lead you over to like a curtain and pull it aside, motion you through, and then it opens into another hallway. There's still limestone, and there's still that same mosaic pattern of like silver and black that decorates the wall. And she leads you to a room and opens the door, and pulls the curtain back, and there's like a table in there. But
Is there a wizard behind it?
yeah, there's no invisible wizard.
Pay no
here.
attention to the man behind the curtain.
It's dark in there, and she speaks a word, and it lights up in there, and there's actually like
What word
these,
did she speak?
Ha!
Go something like, go fuck yourself.
she says like a whisper, "What's your?"
Yep, that basically.
And the room goes into that calming blue and yellow light, and the chairs are actually in and around this table are pretty comfortable. And she sits and says, "Please make yourself comfortable. My name is Sister Triss. How can I help you?"
This is a different lady?
No, it's the same lady.
Okay.
Hold on.
Is
I
it
gotta
Sister
write-
Triss?
Yes.
Triss?
Yes. You guys weren't sure what gender they were because of the veil and the robes and stuff. Were very it's all very billowing and mysterious
Yeah.
and stuff.
When she talked, though? Or
Yeah,
what?
when you talk, you're kind of like, it's a higher voice. It could be a female. But when she says Sister Triss, you're like, oh, it's a girl.
Rowan stays as close as possible behind Nora.
Okay.
And Hans and Franz will stay back a bit, like
Observing.
involved, but
Close enough to chuck a hand axe.
kind of, yeah.
It's a good way to gauge.
Nora's
distance.
just kind of like observing the area and sits down.
Okay.
And she takes a deep breath.
So, I just had a couple of questions. Just, do you have any insight in how to possibly speak with those who have passed on?
There are some in our order who have that gift. Yes. Who do you
Oh.
wish to speak to? There are certain there are certain restrictions of how soon and
What kind of restrictions?
well, we would have to have the body of the person here, and it would have had to be a recent death for at least most communications. Otherwise, reaching out to souls that have passed beyond the veil is very difficult.
I see. My village is not currently in the best state, and I was slightly worried that maybe the spirits within our forest could be angry with us.
Spirits, you say? Are they souls of the dead, or I see you are Fey touched and have Fey ancestry. Are they spirits from the Fey realm?
I don't really know, actually. We were just told there were spirits when we were little, and so I'm out here trying to help our village, and that was something that I just kind of was thinking about, is what if they're mad at us? And I know that I was always told that the forest spirits, they're ancient ancestors and people who are there to protect us, but I'm hoping that maybe if I could speak to one, they could tell me what's happening.
She kind of sits back and thinks for a moment, and says, "Your request is a very noble one. The matters of what happens to souls and spirits of the Fey realm is, I'm afraid, a little outside of our goddess's order. While she does direct the spirits to where they're supposed to go, people of your ancestry are blessed with what some would consider a gift, some would consider just a variation of life, where they live on in a different sense as these spirits, so you speak. Our order is not very familiar with what happens with Fey spirits when they pass.
I see.
Is it just your forest is dying, or is it the spirits are angry? For the undead I know quite a bit about. Restless spirits usually wreak to cause vengeance, or
I don't think it's been restless spirits. It's our forest is struggling, and so our forest spirits were supposed to protect it. And it's very worrisome that it's suddenly dying off, and we don't really know why.
She kind of thinks for a little bit. She's like, I'm afraid I do not have an answer for you at the moment of what could be happening. I will certainly pray to our goddess, for even though the Fey spirits do not usually go to her and they go on in another form of life, such as you described, it still would be concerning of her. Death is her domain, but she does not enjoy things coming to an early death. I will pray on it for you and see if my goddess shines an answer, but keep in mind that sometimes the cycle of life involves things dying for new life to grow. Perhaps your forest is just going through a change, and within years it will recover and new life will grow. I wish I could give you all the answers. I will say for the Fey magic, perhaps speaking to somebody of
Speaking of Fey,
a wise elder of such matters from your own village might give some answers, but there are also books and libraries. The scholarship on Fey lore and their ways are new and being reborn and written, since they have only recently reintegrated with us.
But I will still pray for you on behalf of, and for my goddess's wisdom, and see if she can have an answer. Is there anything else you wanted to know, child?
No, that was pretty much it. Do either of you have anything?
I do have a question.
Side note. Roll D20 for me.
14.
What's your deception bonus and what's your perception bonus? Or your persuasion bonus?
My deception is +1. Persuasion is also +1. So 15 total.
Okay. Alright.
What is your goddess's name?
She kind of looks at you for a minute.
Many do not call her by her name because they are afraid it will bring death if they say it early, but her name is Moria. She is the great seer, the keeper of the veil, and the warden of souls.
Moria is the one that has
Thorian.
claimed.
She's sainted
Thorian.
Thorian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So your goddess is the one that is trying to take the power away from my goddess.
Dun dun dun!
Who is your goddess? She kind of looks a little confused.
Foria.
Thorian.
Oh,
Thorian.
Thorian. Saint Thorian.
Goddess Thorian.
I suppose that some people do worship her as a goddess. Whether that is her status or not, I cannot say. I do know that our church honors her as a saint. For her great wisdom and oversight of the souls.
Thorian is indeed wise. And I understand why you would want her as a saint. But I don't understand why your goddess would try to usurp her. It's... I'll put it. It seems very disrespectful. The Raven told us that it's a matter of course. It is okay. But it confuses me.
It's hard for me to read your body language of what your character's giving off because everything you say is Hans and Franz sounds angry, but is that how you intend him to sound?
No, not
that's why I'm asking because it's hard for me to read exactly. I guess as a DM, I'm trying to understand.
Like
what your body
he started off angry,
Mhm.
but is like calmed a bit, especially when she said what she did about wise and whatnot. And so it's just like questioning, kind of confusion.
By her reaction, you calmed a bit and are just like.
Just kind of confusion
Okay.
and like just seeking an answer. So seeking what her answer to this question would be.
Can you rephrase it again? I got distracted by the cat.
So just like, why would your goddess attempt to usurp my goddess?
It
seems
disrespectful.
It seems very disrespectful.
Many gods are not. I do not believe I can fully answer for what our goddess's motivations for anything are. Much like the mysteries of death which she guards over, her motivations could be a mystery. I only can tell you what I know of her legends, and originally, Moria, that we believe, was a human woman who rose to divinity. Moria, we don't actually believe is her name, but during the time of the Warlock Kings, there were many souls going to the fiends and the devils and the fae, foul fae, darker forces, and souls were not being ushered to anywhere in a sense. And the other gods did not care where those souls went except for their favorites. So somehow, she achieved divinity and forever took over the post of watching where the souls went and judging where they should go. For only a mortal could really understand true justice in a sense, and humanity, and mercy in a sense that a god couldn't. I do not know why your goddess, as you refer to as, is a saint of hers, but I can say that I do not believe that their association would be out of usurping. There are other gods in the world who all claim stewardships over death as well.
When I spoke to the Raven, who is the aspect of death of the god Thorian, Oof. It's getting harder and harder on the throat.
Need some water or some like tea?
Yeah, water.
Okay.
Is the raven male or female aspected?
She sounded female when she spoke. The tiny
She said that. God, how did she put it?
This was a while ago.
Yeah, this was a long time.
This was probably.
I mean, for
6
our
months. It was
characters.
like 6 months ago. You guys talked to her.
Okay.
I mean, that's about
yeah.
what it was in real time.
Yeah.
Dang it.
The Raven. I remember the Raven telling you that people who still worship Forian as a deity would collect their souls.
Okay.
Even when in her sainthood, if they believed in her more than Moria or saw her as a more approachable figure, then she would come for their souls. That's what the Raven told you.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'd probably just leave it at that. And, thank her for her answers and apologize. I apologize for coming off a bit strong at the beginning.
I understand that in my line of work serving Moria, I deal with people at the worst moments of their lives usually. I understand and I'm used to high tensions and emotions. Your anger was not taken personally, and I thank you for your apology.
Yes, I understand you're used to anger because of a death or a near death.
Or sadness.
Or sadness.
Or regret.
Or regret.
She doesn't say anything else.
Okay. Good.
Breaker of chains, mother of dragons, defender of the realm, protector of the... I don't know.
My anger comes from the knowledge that my goddess is a goddess. And for her to be put low as a saint offends me, but I know it is not your fault.
But you will die just the same.
When the Holy War comes to this land, when my people swarm across this land like a fire, we will bring down... No, I'm just kidding.
But we're not.
I mean, kidding, not kidding. But yeah, he'll just apologize and bow.
You know, just because some people worship Moria in an aspect of the Soul Keeper, and some people worship Forian as a goddess, that does not change who they are, in a way.
No,
the gods
it does
are
not.
what they are, whether we... And they do their duty regardless of our personal thoughts of them at the moment. Perhaps that is a way that they are better than us.
In at least one way, yes, that is one aspect why they are better than we are. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry, Nora.
No, it's okay. You
Did you all have any other questions?
Yes, I have one.
Am I a real boy?
Hans and Franz like...
Yes. Yes.
If you and your deity don't know what happens to the Fey souls, who might my sister be able to speak to get that information?
You would have to find someone knowledgeable in the ways of the Fey religion. I am not familiar with their order of spiritualism.
Probably in a...
Yes, above table.
There was like a Fey section of town, right?
Yes, you guys went there.
So I would be like, why don't we go where we saw the Fey the other day? They may be able to answer some of your questions.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. I do not know of any temples in the Fey district, but perhaps somebody there is a wise woman or man. They have different systems of organization than our temples, but you may find answers there.
Like-
I will still light a candle on your behalf and pray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, I'll show you out.
Yeah, it's so just like, oh,
Sorry.
Jesus.
And offer incense and whatnot.
Nora will nod her head
incense.
respectfully.
So like she'll kind of like motion you
That's
out,
very
and then like
worse and worse.
as you're leaving, like she'll kind of like touch you and like whisper, and you swear it's just super light. Only you hear it, Nora. You can also come back to ask what you really want to know.
This leaves so many questions for the adventurers. But they're not the only ones in our story. What is Nora's real question? And why is she so interested in death? And will they ever find out if Carl is any good at his job? Find out next time on the Guardians of Fehal.